beneath me! No, God! No!
This is a scene from an oftentimes controversial 2004 horror film, Saw. Now, this scene leads up to the most infamous scene in the entire franchise, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What makes this infamous scene so impactful? Was it just the shock from the blood and violence, or was this scene carefully calculated to make us, the audience, feel more emotion when the moment finally befell? Well, to deduce the truth, we'll have to go back quite a few scenes earlier. The movie starts off, as you probably already well know, with Adam Stanheight and Lawrence Gordon chained inside of a room that looks like it has tetanus written all over the walls and floor. Now, Adam plays a big part in the story, but our main character here is going to be Gordon. We first learn that Gordon is a doctor. He's treating Jigsaw, or as he knew him, John Kramer. Gordon then dismisses the hospital janitor, Zach, and this is our first sign of Gordon's lack of empathy. Zach, most likely knowing that the patient was John Kramer, is because, well, Zach is the forerunner for Jigsaw's new game involving Gordon. We see more lack of empathy from Gordon when he hears Amanda Young's Jigsaw survival story.
We have one of the victims who managed to escape. Want to know if you wouldn't mind sticking around and listening to her testimony? Maybe it'll trigger something.
I'd like to help, really, but
Well, we'd really appreciate it.
Gordon also doesn't seem to want to help the detectives sing and tap, or even show much compassion in the whole tragedy at all. All of this is shown to us, the audience, through very careful story, dialogue, imagery, and pacing. We then see Gordon's family. His daughter is afraid of a man in her room, and then Gordon's wife brings their daughter to Gordon to help bring their daughter some comfort. Gordon shows some neglect at first, but still more empathy than we've seen him show prior to some more tragic scenarios earlier in the film. He gets his daughter back to bed, and then leaves for work, as he claims, giving his wife the cold shoulder. Gordon leaving to actually have an affair with a medical student, but then has second thoughts and decides against the activity. Again, we see all of this through clear actions, dialogue, and pacing. This is known in film as a common phrase, show don't tell. Gordon is telling these stories to Adam back in the room, but the film is showing us everything going on. We see the relationship he has with his family, and we see that he isn't a great husband or father, but then we see that he wants to do better.
There! I've done it! I've killed him with the poison, just like you wanted. Now where's my family?
We see his lack of empathy towards others, and we can sometimes also relate to Gordon, because we have all been in scenarios where we know we're not always doing what's morally correct, but we want to try and make the change. We see Gordon start to come to this conclusion before he gets captured and chained, but when he is forced in the defying situation, we can feel the regret and disappointment in himself. So once we reach a scene like this one, we, the audience, can really feel the pain that Gordon is feeling, being helpless and full of regret. Gordon wants to save his family, but not only because he's more empathetic now, but more so because he needs the chance to rewrite the narrative of the life he had been portraying.
Sorry. I want to live. My family.
In this scene, the absolute desperation and hopelessness Gordon is expressing makes sense to the audience. We were shown his faults, his selfishness, and the beginning of the turning point through all careful story, dialogue, imagery, and pacing. We now understand why Gordon must escape to help his family. Saw isn't a film just about shock value. It takes us through careful, thought-out story and well-fleshed characters. So in this case, when we see a scene like this, it's not just shocking through imagery. It's got well-thought-out story to elucidate why this scene is so impactful.